Hello, everyone, and welcome. I wanted to start this out by telling everybody my name. My name is Ross. I've been meaning to do that. David Wayne asked me in a chat, and for anybody that wanted to put a name with the face, that is my name. And pretty much, if anybody really wanted to figure out who I am, which I'm really not all that interesting, I'm sure that they would have the means to do so in the surveillance state that we live in. But we're going to check out the Wacky on storybook architecture. Storybook architecture, or fairy tale architecture, is a style popularized in the 1920s in England and the United States. Houses built in this style are often referred to as storybook houses. The storybook style is a nod towards Hollywood design, technically called provincial revivalism, and more commonly called fairy tale or Hansel and Gretel. While there is no specific definition of what makes a house storybook style, the main factor may be a sense of playfulness or whimsy. Most seem snapped out of craggy old world village with intentionally uneven roofs, many cobblestone, doors and windows which may look mismatched or odd shaped. The steep roofs of such buildings often have uneven shingles designed to evoke straw thatch, with multiple gables, turrets, and dovecotes. A dovecote, or dovecot, or ducat, or columbarium, is a structure intended to house pigeons or doves. Most know what straw thatch is. Thatching is a craft of building a roof with dry vegetation such as straw, water reed, sedge, rushes, heather, or plum branches, layering the vegetation so as to shed water away from the inner roof. So, according to the Wacky over here, this janky house is reminiscent of that of a old world village. Something else to keep in mind are words. Words are very important, such as fairy tale and story. Another interesting word is this craggy here. The craggy cliffs, rocky, rough, ragged, rugged, uneven, bumpy, stony, irregular, pitted, broken up, jagged, etc. The style took a foothold in California, particularly Los Angeles, during the 1920s and 30s. A primary example can be found in the 1927 Montclair, Oakland firehouse, and in a more traditional English cottage style in the 1930 Montclair Branch Library. Idora Park in North Oakland, California is a 4 square block storybook architecture development begun in 1927 on the grounds of the old amusement park. Interesting. What's this? Idora Park. Well, what do we have here? Amusement. I just wanted to get distracted and check out a few photographs here. What is going on with this? Check this out, guys. These dragons. I guess, this is what we were up to in the 1920s. Cockatoos. Other examples in Los Angeles are the Snow White cottages, designed in 1931 by architect Ben Sherwood, Charlie Chaplin Studios, built in 1919 by architects Meyer and Haller, the Charlie Chaplin cottages, built in 1923 by Arthur and Nina, not going to try to say that last name, a husband and wife architectural team, and The Hobbit House, built between 1940 and 1970 by Disney artist Lawrence Joseph. Ah, yes, The Hobbit House. Charlie Chaplin Studios. What's going on with Charlie Chaplin Studios? It's basically, to me, just looking like surviving old world structures, and not of the janky variety. And here's the Hobbit House. So we are to believe that, somebody slapped these things together to live in. Check out these bricks down here that are paving this whole ground. I don't know, guys. Look at these roofs. I mean, these barely make for decent shelter here. I'm going to go ahead and theorize that a lot of these structures were found in complete ruins, and they were fixed up in the most minimalistic of ways, and then eventually redesignated as storybook style homes. But that's just my theory. Let me know your opinion. The term storybook style was first coined by photographer Douglas Keister and writer Errol Gellner when they published their book Storybook Style in 2001, then did a major revision in 2017. Interesting. So, yeah, that's the book that we took a look at in a previous video. And I guess they are credited with the phrase storybook style home. And that's really not that long ago. The primary architects that worked in this style are Harry Oliver, Ben Sherwood, William R. Yelland, Walter W. Dixon, Hugh W. Comstock, and Carr Jones, among many other local artists. Harry Oliver was an American humorist, artist, and Academy Award nominated art director of films from the 1920s and 30s. So here we go. We got one architect that is in the Hollyweird sphere of operation. Oliver is noted for his Spadina house in Beverly Hills and the Tam O'Shanter Inn in Atwater Village, Los Angeles, and the Spadina house of Beverly Hills. And that's the one that we have already seen images of. Tam O'Shanter Inn. Looking like some more surviving old world. They might have got a little funky with some of this. Looking pretty Tudor style to me. Tam O'Shanter Inn is one of Los Angeles' oldest restaurants. Established in 1922, it serves hearty pub fare with a touch of Scottish flair. The Spadina House, also known as the Witch's House, was originally built to function as offices and dressing rooms for Willett Studios, a silent film studio in Culver City. It was moved to Beverly Hills in either 1926 or 1934. Accounts vary. So, yeah, we're building this janky house here for offices and dressing rooms, is what we're being told. Totally logical. Since the time that it was moved. Here we got another structure that's been magically moved. It has served as a private residence. And I apologize, guys, but they've got us jumping kind of back and forth here between the Tam O'Shanter Inn and the Spadina House, but here we go. The Tam O'Shanter Inn, also a storybook building. Did that look like a storybook building to you guys? Was designed by Oliver and built in 1922. Mr. Totally not a character of his story, Harry Oliver, was also responsible for Van de Kamp Bakery's trademark windmill buildings, which were also designed during the same time period. I'd like to take a look at those. Here's just one example of one of these Van de Kamp's bakery windmills. I've never seen nor heard of such a thing. But this van logo up here is very interesting. Looking familiar to me. Why anybody would go through the expense and time of building a non-operational windmill is beyond me. I'm assuming these are just for looks. That one's in Seattle. Apparently they're all over the country. Hi. Are you waving to me? Hi. Hi, Betsy. This is another Betsy. And who doesn't love a dog intermission? You'll have to excuse my ridiculous dog voice. Sherwood is noted for the Snow White cottages built in 1931 in Los Angeles. Another example are cupola-topped storybook homes in a lot in Culver City constructed between 1946 and 1970. They are collectively known as the Hobbit houses. And I do believe we just looked at the Hobbit houses. William Yelland is noted for his Thronburg, Normandy Village, and Tupper and Reed Music Store, both located in Berkeley. Yellen designed homes in Oakland, Piedmont, Berkeley, San Leandro, Hayward, Woodland, Modesto, Clarksburg, Sacramento, Kensington, and San Francisco. Boy, he was just, throwing these janky houses up all over the place. W. W. Dixon Ward Dixon is noted for his work with developer R.C. Hillen in creating the Dixon-Hillen catalog of home plans. Dixon is noted for Stonehenge and Stoneleigh villages in Alameda, as well as Picardy Drive in Oakland. Alameda is a city in Alameda County, California, United States, located in the East Bay region of the Bay Area. Never heard of it. Looking like a brutalized cathedral. Wonder if this has... No. I was really expecting... This is very... Oh my goodness. This is very similar to a cathedral that I looked at, except it still had both of its towers. Interesting. Man, let me see if I can dig this thing out. Well, it's similar, but not quite the same. It's got the three massive archways in the front, as well as this one still has both its towers. And if I was a betting man, I would bet that this other one, at one point in time or another, had two towers as well. And actually, looking back, I've seen several different versions of, Call it what you want. Church, chapel, a cathedral, a synagogue. But usually there's two towers. Anyways, distraction. Carr Jones is noted for the post office, now Pastino Restaurant in Lafayette. Lafayette is a city in Contra Costa County, California. He also designed and built one of a kind homes in Oakland, Berkeley, and Piedmont, such as the impressive Huvenen House at 85 Willwood Gardens in Piedmont. He also built the Steve Jobs home in Palo Alto. In Iowa City, Iowa, builder Howard Moffett constructed more than 100 vernacular houses, known locally as Moffett houses, in the 1930s. These houses are strongly influenced by storybook styling, often faced with whimsical faux medieval flourishes. They love their tongue twisters here. A little better, though. And I'm not sure what they mean by medieval flourishes. Check these Moffat houses out. There's a Wacky on these. I'm not seeing anything, you know, out of the ordinary as far as some of these homes that they are referring to as storybook style homes. Looking pretty standard. And also, by the way, the term storybook style house, according to the Wackies here, was not even invented until 2001, I believe they said, when that first book was written. And these houses as well, they might have a little strange stonework going on, but nothing too crazy. The roofs don't look like they're about to collapse. So, keeping in mind that the term storybook style was first coined in 2001, we can only assume that these architects were simply ahead of their time. But we're going to move along here to the final paragraph of the Wacky on storybook style homes. In Tucson, Arizona, self-taught storybook style disabled architect and builder George Farr Legler, along with local friends and railroad hobos, began in 1923 constructing on 3 acres numerous storybook-themed rock, wire, and cement structures, features, and water features based on their near-to-ground view of being seen from the eyes of children. Known locally and at times nationally as Valley of the Moon, and I guess there's a period there. Oh my goodness, man, who writes this? Building at the Valley of the Moon continued until 1963. The original magical features that remain include the Wizard's Tower, Cathedral Church Complex, Enchanted Garden, along with a few others. The facility is on the National Register of Historic Places and remains open to the public, operated and conserved by the George Farr Legler Society. Figured I'd hop over here to the Valley of the Moon, check it out. There are 0 photographs. I'll spare you all the mishaps as far as the goggle image search goes, but the whole point of this video and looking into these storybook style homes is because those few homes, and I've seen them all over the place in several different areas, with the melted looking bricks everywhere. Last little creep session here. Look at this wall. Squirrel. Um, I just kind of remembered seeing something similar in the book that I have.
Basically, looking like what we looked at yesterday. Curious to know how these bricks got this way.
So that's what brought this all about. I hope you guys find this a little bit interesting. But I stumbled upon this website here called Spaces Saving Preserving Arts Cultural Environments. And they've got a little article here on the Valley of the Moon with some decent images. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this. And I'll do a quick search for some more storybook style homes. And then we're going to wrap this thing up. Let's check out what this disabled man and railroad hobos built. And apparently, these photographs were taken in 1989. Interesting looking tower here. And what I'm looking for, it's going to be pretty obvious that some unskilled peoples slapped a few rocks or stones together. But we're trying to look past that and look for actual ruins. Because I think I'm going to stick with my opinion that, you know, a lot of these homes were found in shambles, and our people used very makeshift ways of repairing and renovating these structures. Interesting little shelf thing going on here. Can't really tell what the scale is. But what's going on with this wall back here? It's got some interesting horizontal lines. Just a random pipe sticking out of the ground. Not really sure what is going on here. This looks like it goes into the ground. Very bizarre. Oh, maybe this is one of the quote unquote water features. And what's this light post doing here? At least that's what it looks to be. The really old posts, have this fluted look to them. Of course, there's some reproductions out there. Some more creepy doll stuff and stacked rocks. Sorry guys, I'm having to scroll up and down so that I can arrow over. Unless I'm missing something here. This is looking underground. This little feature over this doorway looks to be what, they would tell you is natural. And then they put these janky rocks around the entry here. More tiers down into the ground. Some kind of fireplace they put together with what looks like ruins and artifacts. And here we are all lit up. Not a single person in any of these photos, so Figuring out the scale here is a little difficult. Oh, look, there's that piece of lamppost just sticking out of whatever they got going on here. And that's going to do it for this little distraction of the Valley of the Moon. While fiddling around here a bit, I ran into this Moon Valley, the perfect hidden gem in North Phoenix. What's going on here? That's not a completely destroyed pyramid over here. I don't know what is. Back to the whack. Got a few images here in their gallery that they have provided on the Storybook Style homes. Once again, not really seeing anything super out of the ordinary with these. Looks like, this one's a little strange, but I've seen similar homes to that before. The Tuckbox Storybook House, Monterey, California. Looking more like a storybook house than the last two that we looked at. And then we've got the fairy tale house here in St. Petersburg, Russia, just completely out of the flippin' blue. Just gonna check out a few interesting structures on Google Images that I can find decent images of. This here, to me, is just looking like a turreted Tudor that's been reworked to look funky. Normally these would all be straight. Not sure what you call those the boards on the front. And apparently we only get a view of this side of this structure and a few interior shots. Here's one with a funky mix of brick and stone. Very interesting door on this one. I haven't really seen that shape before. A lot of them have the round top doors. Got a turret on this one. That's actually in the book that I have. This one's got just a little bit of its Tudor style left to it. Not really sure, some of these are cool looking, I will admit, but I'm not really seeing the attraction with a lot of these. And I have no idea how the hell they got this roof like that. Interesting little, what used to be, more than likely, a beautiful fountain. So I'm trying to find some more examples of these homes and or other structures that are said to have been built with these melted out looking bricks, and it's proving to be a little bit difficult, but I'm going to take a little break from that and show you this example here, as I have actually seen a home exactly like this on Ward Parkway. Has the two side porches, without the funky roof, and I'm almost positive that it is in one of my boots on the ground videos dealing with the Ward Parkway. And, it makes it difficult to kind of look back and try to find stuff in some of my videos because I look at so many different things throughout my Explorer. Anyways, wanted to show this example. This is on Insta Spam from this Perkins House person here. There's also some beauties down here as well. I mean, look at these. These are really good photographs too. Bravo to the poster here. I want to click on all these guys, but I'm not going to because that will further distract me from the subject at hand here, which is storybook style homes. Finally, here's another example of one with this funky brick and stone conglomerate. And I can't click on these. They want me to sign in, which I refuse, but interesting nonetheless. We're going to be looking into some Tudor style homes with similar construction again at some point while I'm out and about because there's quite a few of them. You know, something like this. A lot of them seem to be symmetrical as far as, let's say they're 90% brick and then they've got just random limestones thrown in the mix. Well, generally speaking, they seem to be pretty symmetrical in their placement of these things. However, and I'd like to add a however, and I apologize if I seem to be talking in circles, but obviously we have ran into examples as well that don't look so convincing as far as, they were constructed in that manner. So I don't know if some of these things are thrown in here to confuse us or what. I could scroll through these all day long, but I'm not going to. This video has been plenty long. I'm not sure I really came to a conclusion here, but check this out. Looks like a very small portion of what once was. Alright, guys, I've got one more little thing I'm going to do here, and then we are going to end this. What is this? Look at this thing. Not a very great photo, but I mean, wow. And this thing is in ruins here. What a grand little sun porch. I wanted to end this with a silly little AI question here. Why are houses constructed with melted bricks? Houses are not constructed with melted bricks because standard bricks are designed to be non-combustible and not to melt or burn. They are fired at extremely high temperatures to make them durable, strong, and resistant to fire, moisture, and the elements. The idea of melted bricks may stem from misunderstanding or confusion with other building materials or historical methods. Apparently, AI doesn't get out very much, as we have seen firsthand that there appears to be melted bricks within the construction of homes and other structures. But I think that's going to do it. I appreciate your time, and I will see you on the next one.